Well, thanks for coming back to my shop, and forward I go with this Kalmar Electrohome receiver, just to kind of remind myself of where I am in this. Repaired the IF coil, put it back in, fiddled with the capacitors, got all that straightened away, peaked it, seems good. I applied a test basically to judge the gain of the IF circuitry according to the book, according to the pages here. And the result of that test was it looks like the IF doesn't have anywhere near the gain it should have. Yet when I operate the radio, put it on an outdoor antenna and operate it, it seems just fine. And judging from the low level of the volume control to get a pretty good output, it really does seem to be fine. Sounds fine, seems to work fine. So I'm querying myself as to whether I should just leave well enough alone at this point and assume that my gain test was bogus, or does it really require more attention? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on with the alignment process. And the next thing is an interesting kind of test. I'll read it to you. It's the next step in the instructions here. It says change the band switch to AM HiFi. Well, that's kind of interesting in itself. AM HiFi, high fidelity. Tune signal generator across 440 to 470 kilocycles. So you see right now it's somewhat in the middle, 455, and they're suggesting I sweep it up and down. And check for approximate response curve as shown. This test should preferably be made with a proper sweep generator. Well, I don't have a sweep generator, so I can't do it that way, but I can certainly just turn my signal generator up and down and watch the meter. And this is what we're supposed to see in HiFi. So first I'm going to do the test and not put it in HiFi. I'm going to leave it in regular AM mode, and we'll see what the meter does. If I peak the coils properly, we should just see one rise up and down, like that. 1 meter up and down. If I put it on HiFi, I'm pretty sure it's going to broaden out the, it's going to broaden something out somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where it's doing it. It could be affecting the IF strip itself, or it could be doing it somewhere else, but the bandwidth of frequencies being allowed through the radio is going to get wider. And the result of that is we're going to get this funny camelback curve, supposedly. So I think, if that proves to be the way it works, it's probably time to leave well enough alone. So I have to put this back in here. I have to do a couple things here. So let me get it all set up here, and we'll give it a go. Okay, well that only took just a moment to connect a couple things up. Let's turn on the receiver. Now, my last video was interfered with by Spunky, my senior male cat, who is currently outside, and boy, it's another really cold day here. It's kind of hard to believe. It's actually it was below zero when I first got up this morning, and a bit of, oh no, snow. There was a bit of snow, tiny amount, but enough to send shivers down my spine. So, what is going on with the weather here? I don't know, but spring is delayed, for sure. And my cat's outside, so he's not going to bother me. In fact, I just remembered he's outside. He's probably wanting to come back in. Wow, you see who's really the boss around here. Him. So, okay. There we are. Let me take the outdoor antenna off here, because we're getting a signal coming in. There we are. So you know what, I'm going to let this warm up a bit, and I'm going to go get my cat and let him warm up a bit too. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so hey, Spunky never went outside. I was confused. But our other two cats were out, Peanut and Draper, and they're pretty happy to come in because it is cold out there and there's no sun. Okay, so this should all be warmed up, ready to go. Let's make sure that what we see on the meter here is the real signal. So I'll turn the percent modulation up and down a little bit here. Yeah. Put it back on 30. Okay, now I'll tune the signal generator through the IF frequency. I'll watch this meter. You'll probably see it come up to here, and go back. Let me see if I can just get a little higher signal level on there. Okay. I did that by turning up the RF output on the signal generator. Are we ready? Here we go. Okay, so we're down to 4. What were the numbers they suggested here? Right on the chart. 435 to 475. We're very off scale here. Yeah, it's not going any lower than that reading there. It's the same here. Come back up. Watching the meter for one peak. 450. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2. Clearly one peak. Oh, what was that little piece at the end there? Coming down. 474. Hey, look at that. Can you see that? I don't know. Let me put this on a better camera here. Yeah, you get a much better look at it here. Okay, so I'm going to dial this up. We're up at 480 now. Here we go. 480. Just watch the meter and see if it goes smoothly. Slowly turn the frequency down. $460, $450, $55, right there. So I'll go back up where that other little peak is. Definitely something fishy going on at 470. That's interesting. Let me see if one of these coils is sensitive to the 470 reading. So I'll leave it on 470, 0.470 megahertz or 470 kilohertz, and I'll turn each of the IF coils a little wee bit and just see if there isn't a reaction. What I'm thinking is if one of these coils is actually resonating way off at this frequency, when I turn that coil slug, we'll see a big change. And I'm really suspicious about the, was it the first? I think it's the first. The first IF, the one that I fiddled with, that something like this is going on. So this might provide some evidence. So first coil I'm going to do is the upper on the second IF. Okay, I'm turning it a little bit. Oh, look at it go. Well, I'm not sure how to interpret that yet. Never done anything like this. So I'll go down into the other slug. Okay, I'm in the other slug now. Turn it a little bit. Oh my gosh. Super sensitive out here. Okay, this is not what I expected. What I expected without any experience was these slugs, because they're in the 455 position, wouldn't affect the signal out here at 470 all that much. I guess maybe that's a stupid notion, really. Okay, so now I'm trying to get in the slug on the IF in question. So I'm in the upper slug now. A little bit of a turn. This one is cranked all the way to the limit. Look at that. Okay, this is a stupid test. Every one of these slugs is making a difference. Every one. That's the lower slug there. Okay, so that didn't help much. But, oh, wait a minute. You know what? If one of these coils is actually peaked out at this dumb frequency here, then turning it would cause it to go down, where the other ones, turning it would cause it to go up. Let me put that even more. If one of these coils is resonating up at this frequency, then turning it in either direction would cause the meter to go down. The other ones, one direction up and the other direction down. Okay, so let's start again. Go back to the other IF cam. Okay, I'm turning it up and down. Okay, so that goes up and down, up and down. Now turn the lower one. This is what I would expect. Up and down. Okay. That makes sense to me. Now we'll go to the IF in question, the upper slug. SSR up and down. Okay. And now the lower slug down and up. Okay, whoopee. Okay. Another good idea that just doesn't work. Now, lots of good ideas that don't work. Okay. Somewhere in there is a technique, I'm sure, to try to identify if one of these coils is really responsible for this. But it could be some other kind of resonance in the circuit. It could be that third capacitor I put in is somehow the wrong size and is causing a resonant point. But let's go on to doing the test that's proposed here from the book. Okay, AM HiFi, which is something I've frankly never seen before. An AM HiFi button. Just checking which one it is, and it would be this one. It would be that one if I could get it to stick in. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Push in and down. It's supposed to work like that. Well, first thing is, wow, we got a big whopping boost. Of course, I'm tuned way off. Let me take it off. Tune back to 455. Hey, where'd it go? Where'd our nice signal go? These buttons need some work. Wow, I better be careful. I'm busily aligning this thing and the button is making bad connection. Not going to be helpful. Okay, so here we are. Got that signal, and that is at 4 dB. That's at 5 dB on the scale. Now let's go put this on. Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Hear what, Jim? Certainly things broadened out because I hear a bunch of high frequency stuff I didn't hear before. So this jumped up. Let's see if, is this still the peak? 455? No, it's way the heck. Guess what? It's way up here at 470. Haha. Isn't that interesting? Let's go back to 455. Wow, okay. This is another whole curious situation here on many levels all at once. It's another way of me saying I'm totally lost in what's happening here. See if we can figure it out. I think it's pretty clear when I do this, pass it through the band, it's not going to respond properly at all. But let's give it a try. So I'll turn it down to around 435. That should put us down around here somewhere. Going down. 440, 435, and it is pretty much faded out at that point. Nice smooth curve like that. So now we'll go up. We'll head up to 475. See what happens on the way there. There we go. 440, 45, 450. 455, and we're at, we went from 5 to say 14, well it's almost 10 dB gain. Let's keep going. She just keeps on going. 465. 7, still going up, right there, 470. Keep going up, 470, and down it goes. But basically I'm seeing one peak. We come back, just nice and steady. Well, it's an interesting result. What the heck is going on? How does this even work? What are they even doing here when I push that button? Okay, so I'm going to study the schematic a little bit. Frankly, I never even noticed that there was a AM HiFi button. It's not something I've ever looked for because I've never seen one before. I've certainly seen switches that broaden the bandwidth in the IF. A lot of communications receivers have things like this, and I think the odd high fidelity home stereo type system like this has that kind of thing. I'm not sure I've ever actually seen one. Most of the time, you know, it's just tone controls in the audio circuits that are affecting the apparent bandwidth, if you like, or the range of you know, the amount of treble and amount of bass that'll come through. So, yeah, I'm going to have to study this schematic for a while and see if I can sort out what is going on, because it's not coming to me as I look at it right now. Okay. Oh boy, you know what? You can be pretty stupid at times, and not you, me. Okay, so I've been studying this up here all this time on the schematic. Any of you been yelling at me on your screens? This is the FM part of the radio. I'm fixated on the FM part. This is the AM part. This is 6AV6. Ah, right. Okay, so I don't know. Well, I've been mixing things up pretty bad here. So, but now I'm not. Okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. You know what it is? It's probably from working late at night versus earlier in the morning. So. Okay, so I am still trying to figure out what that broadband switch does exactly.